Video 1. From the series of Shrimad Bhagwat Mahapuran. As mentioned here in the index of Bhagwat Puran, there are 12 cantos and 1 section on Bhagwat Mahatmyam. And so we start our series. This is the first video of the series and it is about Bhagwat Mahatmyam, which has 6 chapters in it. Let's start. Shrimad Bhagwat Mahatmyam. Chapter 1. The meeting of Narad Muni and Bhakti Devi. We offer our humble obeisances unto Lord Shri Krishna, whose transcendental form is bliss personified. He is the cause of the creation, maintenance and destruction of the universe and the destroyer of the 3 types of miseries. We pay our humble obeisances to Sri Sukdeva Goswami, who is like the supersoul. He left home immediately after taking birth, though he had not undergone any sanskars or purificatory ceremonies. Upon his departure, his father out of separation followed him calling, "O my son! O my son!" But only the trees responded. Once in the forest of Nemisranya, Sri Sonka RSI, the best of sages who are expert in tasting Krishna Katha, put some questions to Suta Goswami after paying obeisances. Sri Sonka said, "O Suta Goswami, your knowledge dispels the darkness of ignorance like millions of suns. Please recite the nectarian pastimes of Lord Krishna, which are like tonic for the ears. How can one increase the discrimination that results from knowledge of devotion and renunciation of the material world? How do Vaisnavas get relief from the illusion created by Maya? In Kali Yuga the general populace is demonic. Please explain. Therefore, the best means to purify those who are troubled by various types of tribulations. O Suta Goswami, please describe that sadhana, or most auspicious purifying process that will take one to Krishna. A touchstone can give only material happiness and the Kalpavaksa tree can at most grant heavenly opulence. However, when the spiritual master is pleased, he can give the eternal abode of the Lord, the Vaikuntha planet, which is not achieved even by the yogis." Sri Suta Goswami said, "O Sonka, your heart is full of love for the personality of Godhead. After proper deliberation, therefore I will give you the essence of all conclusions, which will destroy the fear of birth and death and increase the flow of devotion, which is the chief cause of Lord Shri Krishna's happiness. Please hear it attentively." Sri Sukdeva Goswami recited Shrimad Bhagwatam in Kali Yuga to absolutely destroy fear of the snake of death. There is no superior means than this for the purification of the mind. One attains the Shrimad Bhagwatam, however, only after accumulating pious activities for many lifetimes. When Sukdeva Goswami sat among the sages and prepared to recite Shrimad Bhagwatam to Parikshita Maharaja, the demigods, who are expert in accomplishing their work, approached him with a pot of nectar. They offered humble obeisances and said, "Please accept this pot of nectar and in exchange give us the nectar of Harikatha. Let King Parikshita drink this, and let us drink the nectar of Shrimad Bhagwatam." At that time Sri Sukdeva Goswami thought, where's a piece of glass and where's a transcendental gem? How can one compare these two? What is the question of comparing this material nectar, though celestial, with the transcendental nectar of Shrimad Bhagwatam? In this way Sukdeva Goswami made fun of the demigods. He did not consider them proper recipients of Harikatha, because they are devoid of pure devotional service. Hence, hearing the Shrimad Bhagwatam is rare even among the demigods. Lord Brahma was astonished to learn that Parikshita Maharaja became liberated just by hearing Shrimad Bhagwatam. In Satyaloka, he put the Shrimad Bhagwatam on one end of a scale and all other processes for obtaining liberation on the other. Upon seeing the Shrimad Bhagwatam tilt the scale, all the sages present were struck with wonder. They asserted that in Kali Yuga only hearing and reciting Shrimad Bhagwatam, which is non-different from the personality of Godhead, can immediately relieve one from material distress. If one hears it according to the proper process, as described in chapter 6, it will certainly grant bhakti. Previously the most merciful Kumara brothers recited Shrimad Bhagwatam to the sage Narada. Although Sri Narada had heard it from Lord Brahma, the Kumaras gave him the opportunity to hear it according to the recommended process. Sri Sonka asked, where did the learned Narada, who is free from material bondage and constantly travels all over the universe, meet those great sages? How did his interest in hearing Harikatha and in knowing the specific rules and regulations for hearing it develop? Suta Goswami replied, "Now I will narrate an episode that is full of devotion. Sri Sukdeva, who considers me his surrendered disciple, told it to me in confidence. Once, the Kumaras went to Visala, Badrinatha, to get the holy association of saintly people. There they met Narada Muni. The Kumara said, "O Brahman, why do you appear so dejected and full of anxiety? Where have you come from, and where are you going so quickly? You appear like a person in complete anxiety owing to loss of wealth. This is not befitting a person like you, who is completely free from material attachment. Please explain the reason for this." Sri Narada replied, "I came here considering the earth to be the best of planets. Although I travelled to Puskara, Prayaga, Kashi, Godavari, Haridwara, Kurukshetra, Srirangan Setubandha, I could not find peace in any of those holy places. At present, Kali Yuga, the friend of irreligion, has completely afflicted the whole earth. Now truthfulness, austerity, cleanliness, mercy and charity are nowhere to be seen. The fallen living entities take pleasure in telling lies and are simply engaged in filling their bellies. They are lazy, less intelligent, unfortunate, and always disturbed. Those who are called saintly are actually pretenders. Though they appear renounced, they accumulate wealth, women, and paraphernalia for sense pleasure. Women rule the family and the brother-in-law is the consultant. People sell their daughters out of greed, and husbands and wives always quarrel. The holy places, asramas of saintly people, and rivers are under the control of the Yavnas, who are against Vedic religion. They have destroyed many temples and therefore yogis, siddhas, jnanis and religious people are not to be seen. The processes of liberation are completely burned to ashes in the fire of Kali Yuga. In this age people sell grains in the market, the Brahmins charge fees to teach, and women thrive by prostitution. Thus witnessing the defects of Kali Yuga and wandering over the face of the earth, I reached the bank of the Yamuna where Lord Krishna had performed various pastimes. O best of sages, please hear about the wonder I saw there. A beautiful woman was sitting in a dejected mood while two old men lay unconscious in front of her, breathing very quickly. While trying to bring them to consciousness, the young women would sometimes cry. At times she would look around as if searching for her protector, the super soul. She was served by hundreds of women who were fanning and trying to console her. I saw this whole scene from afar and out of curiosity went near them. Upon seeing me, the young lady stood up and spoke very piteously. She said, "O saintly person, please stay here for a moment and dispel my distress. Your auspicious vision destroys the sins of materialistic people. By your words I will get relief from misery and become peaceful. Only by great fortune can one get darshana of a person like you." I inquired, "O virtuous lady, who are you and who are these two men lying here? Who are these ladies serving you? Please explain the cause of your distress in detail." The lady said, "My name is Bhakti, and these two are my sons Gyan and Vairagya. By the influence of time they have become old and decrepit. These women are the holy rivers, such as the Ganges. They have come here to serve me. Although I am directly being served by these ladies, still I am not peaceful. O sage, whose only wealth is austerity, though it is well known, please hear my story carefully and grant me solace. I was born in the land of Dravida, in South India, and I grew up in Karnataka. I was respected in the state of Maharashtra, but when I came to Gujarata, I lost my youth. Rogues influenced by Kali Yuga broke my limbs, and for a long time I remained in that condition, and thus, along with my sons, I have become very weak and impotent. Upon coming to Vrindavana, I regained my youth and beauty, but my two sons, who are lying here, are still old and tired. I will leave this place and travel to foreign lands, but I feel sad owing to the plight of my sons. We always remain together, so why is it that I am young and they are old? It should be that the sons are young while the mother is old. I am astonished by this, and so I lament. You have mystic power and are most intelligent, therefore, please explain this to me." Narada said, "O chaste lady, from within my heart I see the cause of your misery, therefore I advise you not to lament. Lord Hari will shower all auspiciousness upon you." Suta Goswami said, "The best of sages, Sri Narada, understood the reason in a moment and said, 'O beautiful lady, hear attentively from me. Because of this ruthless age, Kali Yuga, good behavior, yoga, and austerities have all become lost. People are addicted to cheating, irreligious behavior, and are like the demon Agha, sin personified. At present, saintly people are unhappy and demonic people are enjoying sense gratification. Under these circumstances, if an intelligent man maintains his fortitude, then he is considered a scholar. By and by the earth is becoming a burden for Lord Sesa. At present it is not even worth seeing, what to speak of touching, and I see no auspiciousness anywhere. Everyone neglects you and your 2 sons. Because of worldly attachment to sense gratification, people are blind. Owing to their negligence, you have become decrepit. It is only due to the glory of Vrindavana that you have become young again. This land is very auspicious because devotion always dances here. However, your 2 sons are being neglected and thus their health is failing, but by the touch of Vrindavana they remain asleep and breathing. Bhakti said, why is it that King Parikshita did not kill the sinful Kali Yuga? Because of Kali Yuga all objects have lost their essence. Why does the most merciful Lord Hari tolerate a religion? O sage, please remove this doubt. I feel pacified by hearing your sweet words. Narada said, O auspicious young lady, now that you have asked, please hear me with attention as I explain everything and thus relieve your misery. Kali Yuga took control and started obstructing auspiciousness the day Lord Krishna left this planet for his abode. When King Parikshita travelled on earth, conquering all the kings, he met Kali, who fell at his feet and took shelter of him. The king, who understood the essence of things just like the bumblebee, decided not to kill him because that goal which is not attainable by penance, yoga meditation, or samadhi, is easily attained in Kali Yuga simply by performing Hari Kirtana. Although the king knew that Kali Yuga was useless, he spotted this one essential good quality, and understanding that this would make the living beings happy, he spared him. Because humanity is engaged in irreligious and immoral acts, everything has lost its essence. All objects, including the seeds of the earth, are ineffective. The Brahmins, being greedy for wealth, are performing Bhagavata Katha in people's houses and therefore the essence of Katha is lost. Immoral, atheistic, and sinful people have begun to reside in the holy places, causing the influence of those places to be lost. Those people whose hearts are always filled with lust, greed and anger make a show of performing austerities, thereby causing the essence of penance to be lost. Because people are unable to control their mind, they have taken shelter of greed, pretense, and immorality, and have given up the study of scriptures, causing the influence of Jnana Yoga to be lost. Moreover, the Pandits, or scholars, are only expert in producing children and enjoying sex like buffaloes. They are no longer expert in the process of liberation. Furthermore, there are hardly any Vaisnavas coming in bona fide sampradayas and there, everywhere all objects have become ineffective. This indeed is due to the influence of Kali and is not the defect of anyone else. Therefore, although the lotus-eyed Lord resides nearby, he tolerates this. Suta Goswami said, O Sonka, hearing these revealing words of Sri Nada Muni, Bhakti was very surprised. She replied, O saintly person, you are very glorious and it is my good fortune to have met you. Within this material world, association with a saintly person is indeed the cause of all perfection. Just by once meeting you, Sri Prahlad, the son of Kaidhu, conquered Maya, and by your mercy Dhruv Maharaja gained the Dhruv planet. You are the personification of all auspiciousness. I offer my obeisances unto you, the direct son of Lord Brahma. Chapter 2. Narada endeavors to remove Bhakti's distress. Sri Narada said, O young lady, why are you in so much anxiety? Don't be melancholy unnecessary. Just meditate on the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna and by his mercy you will be free from all misery. Lord Krishna, who protected Draupadi from the atrocities of the Kauravas and who is the lover of the damsels of Vraja, has not gone far away. Besides, you are bhakti and more dear to him than his very life. On your request he even goes to the house of low-born people. In Satya, Treta and Dwaparayugas, Gyan and Vairagya were the means of liberation, but in Kali Yuga only bhakti can grant liberation. Thinking in this way, Lord Hari, the transcendental personification of knowledge, manifested you. You are the very dear beloved of Lord Krishna. Once you approached the Lord with folded hands and asked him what you should do. He said, Go and nourish my devotees. You accepted this order which pleased him very much. To To assist you, the Lord sent Mukti as your maidservant and Gyan and Vairagya as your sons. You directly reside in Vaikuntha Dhama, where you nourish the devotees and you expand yourself on this earthly planet for their nourishment as well. You came and happily resided on this earth along with Mukti, Gyan and Vairagya from Satyayuga to Dwaparayuga. But in Kali Yuga, Mukti contracted the disease of irreligious pretense and languished, and with your permission, went back to Vaikuntha. Now whenever you remember her, she comes to this planet briefly and returns to Vaikuntha. But Gyan and Vairagya remain with you always because they are like your sons. Being neglected by the people of Kali Yuga, they have become old and weak, but will soon recuperate, so you need not worry. I will find a solution to rejuvenate their bodies. O beautiful-faced one, there is no other age like Kali Yuga because you will be established in every house as well as in the heart of every person. Hear my vow. If I do not preach your message, subdue all other religions and make devotional festivals predominant, then I shall not be considered the servant of Lord Hari. In Kali Yuga, those people who follow you, even if they are sinful, will attain the abode of Lord Krishna without fear. The people in whose heart you reside become purified and they will not see Yamraja, the Lord of Death, even in their dreams. Even ghostly beings like Prethas, Pisakas, Raksasas and Daityas are not able to trouble those whose hearts are imbued with devotion. The Lord cannot be controlled by austerities, study of the Vedas, by culture of knowledge, or by the fruitive activities described in the Vedas. He is controlled only by bhakti, and the gopis are the evidence, praman, of this. On the strength of pious activities performed for hundreds of lives, one becomes attracted to bhakti, which is the only essence in Kali Yuga. On the strength of bhakti, Lord Krishna himself appears to the devotee. Those people who are envious of devotion are always miserable no matter where they go within the three planetary systems. In the past, the great sage Durvasa suffered immense misery for offending a devotee. What more can I say? All vrathas, tirths, yogas, sacrifices and talks of knowledge are not needed. Bhakti alone can grant liberation. Suta Goswami continued. Narada's conclusion glorified Bhakti and nurtured her. Then Bhakti spoke as follows. O Narada, you are very glorious and have unflinching faith in me. Thus I will always reside in your heart and never leave. O saintly person, you are most merciful. Just in a matter of moments you have removed my misery. But my sons have not yet regained their consciousness. Please quickly bring them back to normal. Suta Goswami said. Upon hearing these words of Bhakti, Narada felt very compassionate and attempted to wake them up by shaking them with his hands. He put his mouth to their ears and said, O Gyan, wake up. O Vairagya, please arise. Then he chanted Vedic mantras, the Vedant Sutras, and the Upanishads. He recited Bhagavad Gita again and again. With great difficulty, they were revived, but overcome by lethargy, they yawned and were unable to even open their eyes. Their hair was white as the feathers of ducks and their bodily limbs were emaciated and powerless. Owing to hunger and thirst they were weak and sleepy. Seeing this, Narada fell into anxiety and contemplated further ways to revive them from old age and sleep. O Sonka, as the sage Narada deliberated, meditating on the Supreme Lord, he heard a voice emanating from the sky. O Davarsi, do not worry, your endeavor will be successful. O sage, you must perform one specific noble act that will be revealed to you by some great saintly person. As soon as you complete that activity, Gyan and Vairagya will be released from the clutches of sleep and old age, and Bhakti will reign everywhere. These words were heard by everyone. In astonishment, Narada said, I cannot understand the meaning of this indirect statement. The voice did not clearly explain the path one must follow in order to achieve perfection. Nor do I know where to find those saintly persons who will explain the process to me. What must I do to implement this order? Suta Goswami said, O Sonka, bidding farewell to Gyan and Vairagya, Narada Muni travelled to various holy places and met with the saintly people residing there. He asked them to suggest a process by which Gyan and Vairagya could be revived. Some listened carefully but could not give a definite answer. Others stated that it could not be accomplished, while still others remarked that it was not possible to determine the correct answer. Upon being asked the question, several simply kept quiet while others wriggled away to avoid embarrassment. They were all surprised to hear this question and none could offer a satisfactory reply. They began discussing among themselves as follows: My dear friends, if Gyan and Vairagya could not be revived after the chanting of the Vedas, Vedant Sutra and recitation of the Bhagavad Gita, then what can be the solution? And if Narada Muni, who is the chief yogi and saint, does not know, then who can answer? In this way, wherever Sri Narada inquired, he got the same answer, that it is very difficult to accomplish. He thus became very worried and decided to go to Badri, where he performed penance with the intent to find the solution to revive Gyan and Vairagya. Shortly thereafter the Kumaras, headed by Sanka, appeared there. They were effulgent like a million suns. Seeing them, Sri Narada again inquired, O saintly people, it is by great fortune that I have attained your association. Please be merciful to me and explain that noble process. You are the best of yogis, most knowledgeable and scholarly. Although you appear like 5-year-old boys, you are the senior most saintly persons. You always reside in Vaikuntha and engage in chanting the holy names. You are always intoxicated with the nectar of Lord Hari's pastimes, which are your only sustenance. You are always chanting the mantra Hariya Sarnam, and therefore old age, which is caused by the influence of time, does not approach you. Previously, just by the flick of your eyebrows, you whirled Lord Vishnu's gatekeepers, Jaya and Vijaya, down to this earth. Later they were reinstated by your mercy. I am most lowly and I feel most fortunate to have your darshana. You are very merciful, so kindly bestow your mercy on me. Please reveal that process which the voice in the sky directed me to learn from saintly people. Please explain in detail how to follow that path. How can Bhakti, Gyan and Vairagya become happy? How can they be established in all classes of men? The Kumaras replied, O sage, Narada Muni, abandon your anxiety and be happy, for the solution is simple. O Narada, glorious crest jewel among the renunciates, you are the guide of those who walk the path of devotion. Indeed, you are the son of Bhakti Yoga. It is not very surprising that you have undergone this great endeavor for the sake of bhakti. It is certainly appropriate for a devotee of the Lord to properly establish bhakti. Various sages have propagated many paths, but they are all troublesome and generally can only elevate one to the heavenly planets. Until now, the process by which one can attain the original personality of Godhead has remained concealed, and it is rare to find one who knows this practice. We know the procedure the voice in the sky referred to, and we will explain it to you. Please hear with an attentive mind. O Narada, sacrifice of material objects, penance, yoga, meditation, study of the Vedas and the path of knowledge generally only lead toward fruitive activities and grant residence in the heavenly planets. Scholars have said that only Jnana-yajna, or the sacrifice of knowledge, is the path of liberation. This constitutes the study of the Shrimad Bhagwatam, which has been sung by great personalities like Sukadeva Goswami. Just by hearing the words of Shrimad Bhagwatam, Bhakti, Gyan and Vairagya will be nourished. This will relieve the misery of Gyan and Vairagya and will make Bhakti blissful. As when a lion roars, wolves flee in fear, so merely by the sound of Shrimad Bhagwatam, all the vicious qualities of Kali Yuga are destroyed. Bhakti is the flow of love of God, and along with Gyan and Vairagya will enter every house and dance in the heart of every living being. Sri Narada said, I have tried to awaken Gyan and Vairagya by chanting the Vedas, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita with no success. How is it possible that they will be revived by hearing Shrimad Bhagwatam? After all, Shrimad Bhagwatam is nothing more than the essence of the Vedas. Your darshana never goes in vain, and you always protect those who surrender to you. Please, therefore, remove my doubt with delay. The Kumara said, It is a fact that Shrimad Bhagwatam is the essence of the Vedas and Upanishads, but it is the fruit of the tree of Vedic literature. It is superior. The vital fluid of the tree is spread from the root to the tip, though it cannot be tasted. When that same fluid accumulates in the fruit, however, it tastes very delicious. Similarly, ghee, which is relishable even to the demigods, is spread throughout cow's milk, but it cannot be savored until it is extracted. Sugar also exists throughout the cane, yet when extracted, it becomes more succulent. The same applies to the pastimes depicted in Shrimad Bhagwatam, which is equal to the Vedas. Srila Vyasadeva has propagated it to establish Bhakti, Gyan and Vairagya. Once Srila Vyasadeva, who knows the essence of all the Vedas and Upanishads, and as the compiler of the Bhagavad Gita felt dejected and was drowning in an ocean of confusion. At that time you spoke the message of the Bhagwatam in just 4 verses. Upon hearing these verses, Vyas was freed from his lamentation. So why are you doubtful and astonished by this? Recite Shrimad Bhagwatam to Gyan and Vairagya, and their lamentation and misery will be destroyed. Narada said, O saintly people, your darshana immediately shatters all the sins of the living entities and brings solace to those being scorched by the fire of material misery. You are always drinking the nectar of Shrimad Bhagwatam, which you heard from Lord Sesa. I have taken shelter of you for the purpose of preaching the message of bhakti, which is characterized by love of God. Only one who has performed greatly pious acts for many millions of lifetimes may achieve the association of saintly persons like yourselves and thus get completely free from ignorance caused by material delusion and pride. He then becomes established in proper discrimination. Chapter 3. Bhakti's distress is dispelled. Sri Narada said, to establish bhakti, Gyan and Vairagya, I will perform a Gyan Yajna by reciting the Shrimad Bhagwatam as was spoken by Sri Sukdeva Goswami. Please explain where this Yajna should be performed. You are the knower of the Vedas, therefore please explain the glories of the Shrimad Bhagwatam as spoken by Sri Sukdeva Goswami. Also please explain the proper procedure and duration for the recitation. The Kumaras replied, O Narada, you are very humble and discriminate. We will explain everything to you, so kindly hear from us. Near Haridwara there is a bathing place or ghata on the bank of Ganges called Ananda. Many saintly persons reside there and demigods and perfected beings visit frequently. The place abounds with various types of trees and creepers, and the sand is soft and appealing. The beautiful ghata decorates a solitary point on the river. The fragrance of lotus flowers fills the air and lions and tigers dwell with no animosity toward other animals. Go there and effortlessly start this Gyan Yajna, for by the medium of this katha, a novel rasa will become manifest. You will see bhakti appear along with Gyan and Vairagya, who have become decrepit. Wherever there is recitation of Shrimad Bhagwatam, bhakti, Gyan and Vairagya automatically become manifest. By the sound of Bhagwatam they will become young and energetic. Sri Suta Goswami said, after saying this, the Kumaras desiring to drink the nectar of Shrimad Bhagwatam arrived at the bank of the Ganges along with Narada. The news spread all over the earth and throughout the 3 planetary systems. Those devotees who harbored any taste for hearing the Lord's pastimes came in haste to drink the nectar. Sage like Bhrigu, Vasisht, Kyavna, Gautama, Medhatithi, Devla, Devrata, Parsurma, Viswamitra, Sakla, Markande, Dattatreya, Pippalada, Vyas, Parasra, Chayasuka, Jajli, Jahanu, and all such great saintly persons arrived there along with their family members and disciples. Besides them, the Vedas, the Upanishads, Mantra, Tantra, the 17 Puranas and the 6 philosophical systems came in their personified forms. Sacred rivers like the Ganges, sacred ponds like Puskara, holy kshetras like Kuruksetra, sanctified forests like Dandak, all the directions, majestic mountains like the Himalayas, the demigods, Gandharvas, and even Danvas came there to hear Harikatha. Those who were not inclined to come out of excessive pride were brought by the great sage Bhrigu who had expertly convinced them. The Kumaras then sat on a beautiful seat offered by Sri Narada and resolved themselves to recite Shrimad Bhagwatam. In the front of the audience sat Vaisnavas, renunciants, Brahmacharis, and Sri Narada Muni sat in front of them. On the one side sat the sages and on the other the demigods. One place hosted the Vedas and Upanishads and another the holy places. In yet another place sat the women, while all around could be heard, all glories, as conches resounded and people decorated each other with colored powder and flowers. Some demigods alighted from their airplanes and from the sky others showered flowers on the audience. Suta Goswami said, in this way the worship was performed and then everyone sat with an attentive mind. The Kumaras began reciting the glories of Shrimad Bhagwatam before the sage Narada. Now we will describe the glories of Bhagwatam, which by hearing, one attains liberation. One should always hear Shrimad Bhagwatam, for just by doing so, the Lord sits in one's heart. Bhagwatam has 18,000 verses in 12 cantos and is a dialogue between Sri Sukdeva and King Parikshita. The living entity wanders in this world owing to ignorance until he hears the Bhagwatam Sri Sukdeva Goswami recited. Indeed, there is no need to hear many scriptures and Puranas as this simply causes confusion. Shrimad Bhagwatam alone is sufficient to grant liberation. That house where Bhagwatam is recited daily becomes a holy place and those who reside there become free from all sins. Thousands of horse sacrifices and hundreds Vajpaya sacrifices cannot compare to 1/16th of the benefit of hearing Shrimad Bhagwatam. O sages, sins reside in a person's body only until he properly hears Shrimad Bhagwatam. The benefits offered by the Ganges, Gaya, Kashi, Puskara, or Prayaga cannot compare to those derived from hearing the Bhagwatam. If you at all desire the supreme destination, then you should daily recite at least 1/2 or even 1/4 of a Shrimad Bhagwatam shloka. There is no difference between Omkara, Gayatri Mantra, Purusha Sukta, the 3 Vedas, Shrimad Bhagwatam, the 12-syllable mantra, the 12 features of the sun god, Prayaga, Kala which manifests as a year, Brahman, Agnihotra sacrifice, a cow, fasting on Ekadashi, Tulsi, spring season and the personality of Godhead, Krishna. A person who hears Shrimad Bhagwatam day and night and understands its meaning becomes free from the sins committed in millions of lives. There's no doubt about it. The person who daily recites even 1/2 or 1/4 of a verse of Shrimad Bhagwatam gets the benefit of performing the Rajasuya sacrifice, horse sacrifice. Daily recitation of the Bhagwatam, meditation on the personality of Godhead, the watering of Tulsi, and rendering service to the cow are all considered equal. If a person hears a verse from the Shrimad Bhagwatam at the time of death, the Lord becomes pleased and grants him residence in Vaikuntha. Whoever places the Bhagwatam on a golden throne and donates it to a devotee certainly attains the association of the personality of Godhead. A person who does not hear even a part of Shrimad Bhagwatam during the whole of his life, lives just like a candela or an ass. The purpose of his birth is only to give delivery pains to his mother. A person who has not even heard one verse of the Bhagwatam is very sinful and although living, is actually dead. His life is an utter waste and simply a burden for the earth. This is the statement of Lord Indra, the chief among the demigods. Indeed, it is not very easy to get an opportunity to hear Shrimad Bhagwatam. Only a very pious person gets such an opportunity. O Narda, you are very intelligent and the abode of mysticism. Hear this katha with attention. There are no rules restricting the time or date for hearing Bhagwatam. Considered best is that one should hear Bhagwatam while keeping a vow of celibacy and truthfulness. But for the people in Kali Yuga this is very difficult. Therefore, Sukdeva Goswami explained a special process for hearing that should be known. In Kali Yuga the minds of people are always disturbed and thus it is very difficult for them to perform pious activity and follow rules and regulations for a long period. He has recommended, therefore, a process of hearing the Bhagwatam in 7 days, which is called Saptaha Shravana or Saptaha Yajna. Whatever benefit one derives from hearing Bhagwatam during the month of Magha or any time. Sukdeva says that one gets the same benefit by the process of Saptaha. Because people in general are short-lived, always sick, and unable to control their minds, the process of hearing Shrimad Bhagwatam in 7 days is offered in Kali Yuga. That benefit which is unattainable through penance, yoga and mystic trance, can be readily attained by properly hearing the Bhagwatam through the process of Saptaha. There is no greater vrata, penance, sacrifice, service to a holy place, meditation, or knowledge than hearing Bhagwatam through the Saptaha Yajna. Sonka said, O Suta Goswami, you have made very wonderful statements. Certainly Bhagwatam must describe about Lord Krishna, who is the source of Brahma. But how is it possible that this is a better process of liberation than even the path of knowledge? Suta Goswami said, O Sonka, when Lord Krishna was about to leave this earthly planet to go to his own abode, he spoke the 11th canto to Uddhava. Upon hearing it, Uddhava asked, O Govinda, you have fulfilled your purpose with respect to your devotees and as you prepare to return to your abode, there is one doubt in my mind. Please hear it and grant me solace. Kali Yuga will begin immediately, and various types of vicious qualities will become manifest. Saintly people will become demonic and the earth will become overburdened. Then who will give her shelter? O lotus-eyed Lord, but for you, I do not see anyone who can protect the earth. O Lord, you are very dear to your devotees and merciful to the saintly persons. Therefore, please do not leave. O Lord, you appeared here only for the benefit of your devotees. So how will your devotees maintain their lives in your separation? To meditate on your impersonal feature is very miserable. Therefore please do something. Hearing these words of Uddhava at Prabhasa, the Lord devised a solution to give shelter to his devotees. O Sonka, he invested all his power in the Shrimad Bhagwatam along with himself in his unmanifest form. We should know, that Shrimad Bhagwatam is the personification of the Lord in the form of sound. One who serves, hears, or even sees the Shrimad Bhagwatam becomes free from all sin. In Kali Yuga, therefore, hearing Bhagavata Saptaha is the chief religion and superior to all other means. In Kali Yuga this is the only principle which removes sin and relieves the misery of unfortunate people. It gives them the power to conquer lust, anger, and greed. It is very difficult for the demigods to get relief from Maya. So then, how can mortal beings be expected to become free from her? Hearing Saptaha, therefore, is the correct means to be freed from the clutches of Maya. Suta Goswami said, O Sonka, while the Kumaras were explaining the glory of Saptaha to Nada Muni, a very wonderful thing happened in that assembly. Bhakti appeared along with her two sons, who had now regained their youth. She was loudly and repeatedly chanting, Shri Krishna, Govinda, Hare, Murare, O Lord Narayana, Vasudev. All the assembled people saw that Bhakti had become beautiful by wearing the imports of the Shrimad Bhagwatam as ornaments. The sages then began discussing how it was that Bhakti had manifested herself in the assembly, from where had she come, and so on. The Kumaras then said, Bhakti has now appeared from the import of the Bhagavad Katha. Hearing this, Bhakti and her two sons humbly submitted. In Kali Yuga we were almost lost, but now you have rejuvenated us. Please explain where we can reside. The Kumaras responded, You award the personality of Godhead to your devotees, and you sever the bonds of this material world. Therefore with great patience and fortitude you should reside in the hearts of the devotees of Lord Krishna. The defects of Kali Yuga may overpower the whole universe, but they will not be able to so much as glance at you. Upon hearing the words of the Kumaras, Bhakti entered the hearts of the Lord's devotees. The devotees in whose heart Bhakti resides many appear impoverished, but they are most glorious and opulent, because abandoning his own abode, the Lord himself comes to reside in their heart, being tied by the rope of devotion. The Bhagwatam is the personification of the Lord on earth, and its glory cannot be described in words. Anyone who hears or recites Bhagwatam becomes an associate of the Lord, so what is the purpose of religious principles without it? Chapter 4. The Story of Gokarn. Suta Goswami continued, O Sonka, when the Supreme Lord, who is very dear to his devotees, saw transcendental bhakti manifest within their hearts, he left his abode and appeared in the assembly at Ananda. He wore a garland made of forest flowers, and his bodily hue was just like that of a monsoon cloud. He was dressed in dazzling yellow garments and wore a belt studded with gems. A crown decorated his head and his earrings moved to and fro. He stood in a beautiful threefold bending form that stole the hearts of everyone. The Kaustubha gem glittered on his chest and his bodily limbs were anointed with sandalwood pulp. His exquisite beauty defeated millions of cupids. The transcendental personality of Godhead, who held a flute, then entered the hearts of his devotees. His intimate associates, such as Uddhava, had come there incognito to hear the Bhagavata Katha. As the Lord appeared, in all directions could be heard, all glories. All glories. There was a wonderful flow of bhakti rasa, the sound of conches, and showers of flowers and colored water. The entire assembly completely forgot themselves and their possessions and were fully absorbed in hearing the Shrimad Bhagwatam. Seeing their deep absorption, Sri Narada said, O sages, today I have seen the wonderful glory of Saptaha. Even foolish rogues and animals become purified by hearing it. I have no doubt, therefore, that in Kali Yuga, Bhagavata Katha is the most powerful process for purifying the heart. O most merciful saintly persons, only to show kindness upon the suffering living entities in the material world have you revealed this wonderful process. Now please narrate histories regarding those who have become purified by performing Saptaha Yajna. The Kumara said, those crooked people who always transgress the rules of the scriptures and engage in various types of sinful acts, burning in a fire of anger, and are always given to lust, will be purified by the Saptaha Yajna. Those who are outside the Varnashrama system, devoid of truth, and troubled by material desires, who always criticize their parents, who are envious, hypocritical and bent on giving misery to others, will be purified by the Saptaha Yajna. Those who steal gold, drink liquor, kill Brahmins, and who have sex with the wife of their spiritual master, who are very cruel, merciless, treacherous, immoral, demonic, always prone to cheating and live off the wealth of Brahmins, will be purified by the Saptaha Yajna. Those who are very obstinate and thus always engage in sinful activities with their body, mind and speech, who always live on the wealth of others, and whose hearts are very impure will get purified by the Saptaha Yajna. O Narada, in this context, I will recite a history which simply by hearing one will become free from sin. Once there was a beautiful settlement on the bank of the Tungbhadra. The people of that city were truthful, religious and dedicated to executing their prescribed duties. In that city lived a Brahman named Atmadeva, who was expert in studying the Vedas and performing Karmakanda activities. He was brilliant like the sun and although rich, he lived by begging. He had a beautiful wife named Dhundhuli, who came from a good family but was very obstinate. By nature she was very cruel, talkative and took great pleasure in gossiping with others. Although expert in household duties, she was miserly and quarrelsome. This Brahman and his wife lived together lovingly, owning ample wealth and objects for sense enjoyment. Though their house was very beautiful, they were not happy because they had no son. As old age crept up on Atmadeva, he engaged in various pious activities for getting a son. He distributed charity to the poor and donated cows, land, gold, cloth and so on. In this way he spent half of his wealth on religious activities. Still he could not get a child and thus he was filled with anxiety. One day, feeling very disheartened, he left home and went to the forest. As the sun reached its zenith, he was thirsty and approached a pond. Owing to lack of progeny, he was depressed, weak and tired, and after drinking he sat down to rest. By and by Sannyasi came there to drink. The Brahman approached him and fell at his feet breathing heavily. The Sannyasi asked, "O Brahman, why are you crying so anxiously? Tell me what is your problem?" The Brahman said, "O Maharaja, I am suffering from sins committed in my past life. Even my forefathers are in such anxiety that when I offer oblations of water, they accept but remain full of worry. The demigods and Brahmins do not happily accept my offerings of food. I am so miserable for want of children that my life appears wasted. I have come here to give up my useless life, as I have no son. A house without children is like a forest, and wealth loses all value. Indeed, a family without children is very inauspicious. O Maharaja, even the cows I acquire become barren. When I plant a tree, it yields no fruits or flowers. And when I bring fruit to my home, it spoils very quickly. I am most unfortunate because I have no son, therefore my life has no purpose." Saying this, the Brahman began crying piteously and the saint's heart became filled with compassion. He was a perfected yogi and by seeing the lines on the Brahman's forehead, he could understand everything about his life. The sannyasi said, "O Brahman, give up your attachment and desire for children, for fate is very powerful. Take shelter of discrimination and give up attachment to this world. O Brahman, I can understand your fate and am certain that you will have no son for the next 7 lives." Previously, King Sagra and King Anga had to suffer repeated miseries because of not having a son. Therefore, Brahman, give up all hope for success in family life. Happiness is only in the life of renunciation. The Brahman said, "O Swamiji, what is the value of such discrimination? There is simply no spice in sannyasa life. Somehow or another give me a son, otherwise, I will plunge into lamentation and give up my life." One who does not experience the happiness of wife and children lives in a desert. Happiness exists only when the house is filled with wife, sons, and grandsons. Seeing Atmadeva's great attachment, the saint said, "O Brahman, King Citraketu had to suffer excessively because he wanted to undo his fate. Providence is very powerful, hence none of your endeavors will be successful. For this reason you will not get the happiness of a son, but I see that you are very obstinate, and since you have approached me desiring a son, what can I say in these circumstances? Understanding the Brahman's determination, the saint offered him a fruit and said, "Your wife will surely get pregnant and bear you a son upon her. Eating this fruit, she should follow a vow of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, and charity and eat only one meal a day for 1 year. By doing so, she will have a son who will be pious and righteous." After saying this, the sannyasi disappeared and the Brahman joyfully returned to his house. He gave the fruit to his wife and left for another place. His wife, whose nature was crooked, began crying and spoke to her associate, "My dear friend, I am in great anxiety. My husband has brought a fruit which has the potency to give me a son. If I eat it, I will become pregnant, my womb will grow, and not being able to eat properly I will become weak and unable to perform my household duties. If by ill fortune dacoits attack, I will not be able to run in my pregnant condition. And if during the time of delivery, the child gets stuck in the birth canal, I will lose my life. Or if he remains in my womb for an extended period, like Sukdeva, how much will I have to suffer? I am very tender by nature, how will I be able to tolerate all this? During the pregnancy I will be weak, then my sister-in-law is sure to come and pilfer all my wealth. Moreover, I will have to follow so many rules and regulations which will create difficulty. Childbearing is very painful, and upbringing more painful still. I think only barren women and widows live happily." Thinking in this way, she did not eat the fruit. Yet when her husband asked her, she deceitfully said, "Yes, I have eaten it." One day her sister visited and Dhundhuli confided the whole story to her, revealing her distress. Dhundhuli said, "O dead sister, owing to anxiety, day by day I am becoming weaker. Please tell me what I should do." Her sister replied, "I am now pregnant, so when I deliver this child, I will secretly give him to you. Meanwhile you pose yourself as pregnant and offer some wealth to my husband, thus he will not mind giving his child to you. Somehow or another we will arrange for everyone to think that I suffered a miscarriage after 6 months. Later I will arrange to nourish the baby at your house. Now, to test this fruit, let us give it to this cow." Dhundhuli fed the fruit to a cow and in due course her sister gave birth to a son. The child's father quietly delivered it to Dhundhuli, who informed Atmadeva that she had delivered a son. Hearing this, Atmadeva became very jubilant. He performed the birth ceremony along with various other auspicious activities, gave charity to the Brahmins, and arranged musicians to celebrate the birth of his son. Dhundhuli said to her husband, "There is no milk in my breast and I think it is not possible to feed cow's milk to the child yet. What shall I do? My sister's child was stillborn, so if you call her, she can breastfeed my son." Atmadeva took her suggestion, and Dhundhuli named the boy Dhundhukari. After 3 more months the cow that ate the fruit also delivered a beautiful human child. He was peaceful and divine looking and his face was very brilliant. Seeing this, the Brahman became very ecstatic. He performed all the appropriate ceremonies for this new baby. Hearing this, all the people were astonished and all came to see the baby born of the cow. They started talking among themselves, "Just see how fortunate Atmadeva has become. Even his cow has borne him a son." By the will of the divine, no one could understand the secret behind the intrigue. Atmadeva named the cow's son Gokarn because his ears resembled those of a cow. In time both boys grew up. Gokarn was intelligent and scholarly, while Dhundhukari was a rogue. He would not perform any Brahmanical duties or follow the rules of cleanliness. He used no discrimination when eating and was irate. He would accumulate useless articles and would even eat food touched by a dead body. He was expert in stealing and envious of others. Sometimes he would quietly go and set fire to another's house, or he would abduct a baby and throw it in a well. He took pleasure in violent activities and always carried weapons. He happily troubled blind and handicapped people and kept special friendships with Cantos. He also kept a pack of dogs and would often go hunting. He was attached to prostitutes and thus he wasted all his father's wealth. One day he severely beat his parents, took all the pots and utensils in the house and sold them. In this way, All of Atma Deva's property was lost. He began lamenting, "Alas! Alas! I was better off when my wife was barren. Oh! To have a rascal son is worse than having no son at all. Where shall I go? What shall I do? Who will help me in this unfavorable situation? Oh misery! I am being tormented by my own son and I am prepared to give up my life." While he lamented in this way, Gokarna arrived and began instructing him, "O father, this world is full of delusion and misery, and is useless. You should deliberate upon who is the real owner of sons and wealth. Those who are attached to material things burn day and night like a ghee lamp. Neither Lord Indra nor the Emperor of the whole universe can find happiness. Only those who are renounced and live in a solitary place have peace. Therefore give up this ignorance, thinking that this is your wife, this is your son, and so on. Owing to such delusion one goes to hell. This body will one day be lost. Therefore, go and live in the forest." Hearing the words of Gokarna, Atma Deva decided to go to the forest. He asked, "My dear son, please explain what I should do in the forest. I am very foolish and very much attached to karma kanda activities. Now I have lost everything and am bound in this well of household life. You are very merciful. Please deliver me." Gokarna said, "O father, this body is nothing but a combination of bones, fat, blood, and flesh. Therefore, do not consider that you are this body and that this wife and children are yours. Day and night meditate on the ephemeral nature of this material world and thus do not become attached to anything. Become renounced and perform devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. Devotion is the greatest religion, therefore take shelter of it, and give up all other material religious principles. Render service to saintly people and give up all thoughts of sense gratification and greed for wealth. Do not meditate on the defects of others, fully engage in the service of the Lord, and always drink the nectar of his holy pastimes." Influenced by the preaching of his son, Atma Deva left home and though he was 60 years old went to the forest with great determination. Day and night he remained engaged in the service of the Lord. He regularly recited the 10th canto of Shrimad Bhagwatam until finally he attained the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. Chapter 5. The Story of Gokarna. Suta Goswami said, "O Sonka, one day, after Atma Deva went to the forest, Dhundukari beat his mother severely, demanded her wealth and threatened to burn her. Being overly troubled and afraid of her son, one night Dhundhuli stole out of the house, threw herself into a well and drowned. The saintly Gokarna, who was not troubled by happiness or distress and did not consider anyone his friend or enemy, left to go on pilgrimage. Dhundukari remained living in their house with 5 prostitutes and constantly worried how to accumulate wealth for sense gratification. Owing to this he lost all his intelligence and thus engaged in cruel and heinous activities. One day the prostitutes requested that he give them various ornaments. Dhundukari, completely blinded by lust and forgetful of death, left to fulfill their desire by hook or crook. In his attempt to please them, he stole some wealth and used it to buy beautiful clothes and ornaments. After receiving the stolen goods, one night the prostitutes began to consider, Dhundukari is always plundering others and in time will surely get caught by the king, who will confiscate his wealth and hang him. We might as well kill him ourselves, take his wealth and move to a distant place. Thinking in this way, one night while Dhundukari was sleeping, they tied him with ropes, put a noose around his neck and tried to strangle him. He would not die easily and this worried the prostitutes. They then brought burning wood, shoved it into his mouth. The wood burned him to death and they buries his dead body. Indeed, women are very courageous and it is difficult to understand their mind. No one could understand what happened to Dhundukari. When asked, the prostitute said he had gone far away to collect some wealth and would return after a year. An intelligent person should never believe an unchaste woman. Any foolish man who puts his faith in such women will suffer like Dhundukari. The voice of an unchaste woman appears as sweet as nectar to a lusty man. Actually, her heart is as sharp as a razor. Unchaste women have no love for anyone, they only value wealth. The prostitutes, who had experienced many lovers, thus took all Dhundukari's wealth and disappeared. Owing to his misdeeds, Dhundukari attained a ghost body, 4 and remaining within a whirlwind wandered here and there suffering from hunger and thirst, and lamenting his misfortune. He could find no shelter anywhere. After some time the news of Dhundukari's death reached Gokarn, so he went to Gaya to perform Shraddha, considering his brother destitute. Later, while travelling to the holy places, Gokarn reached his hometown and hiding from everyone, went to his former house to pass the night. Dhundukari's ghost observed Gokarn return, so he assumed very fierce forms and appeared before him. Sometimes he took the form of a dreadful sheep, then an elephant, or a buffalo, or like Indra sometimes like fire. Finally he appeared as a human being. Seeing this, Gokarn realized that a ghost must be making this display. With courage and patience he spoke, "Who are you? Why are you exhibiting all these fearsome forms? How did you fall into this condition? Tell me clearly, are you a ghost, goblin, or a demon?" Suta Goswami said. When Gokarn questioned him, the ghost started crying loudly. He did not have the power to speak, so he gestured with his hands. Gokarn sprinkled some water on the ghost. This relieved him of enough sinful reactions that he was able to speak. "I am your brother Dhundukari," the ghost said. "Because of my misdeeds I have fallen from my respectable birth as a Brahman. Owing to complete ignorance I killed many people. It is not possible to count my sins. I was addicted to 5 prostitutes who finally killed me, and as a result I am suffering the reactions for my ill activities and have thus gotten this ghost body. Somehow, by the will of the Lord, I am now surviving only on air. My dear brother, you are an ocean of mercy. Please somehow deliver me from this ghostly form." Gokarn replied, "Dear brother, I am very surprised. I duly performed oblations for you in Gaya, and it is a wonder that you still have not been relieved from this ghostly form. If you cannot be delivered by performing sacrifice in Gaya, then I do not know what to do. Tell me what is the solution." The ghost said, "I cannot be relieved of this condition even by the performance of hundreds of Shraddhas at Gaya. You must think of some more powerful practice." Gokarn, astonished to hear this, said, "If you cannot be delivered by hundreds of Shraddhas in Gaya, then your liberation is practically impossible. Anyway, do not fear. Stay here and I will think of some procedure to deliver you." The ghost left and Gokarn passed the night in deep thought but did not discover a solution. The next morning many people including scholars, savants, knowers of the Vedas, and yogis came to see him and he explained the incident which had occurred the previous night. They all consulted their particular scriptures but could not suggest a suitable means to deliver Dhundukari. They finally decided to follow whatever Suryanarayan, the sun god, would order. By the power of his accumulated penance, Gokarn checked the movements of the sun god and prayed, "O Lord, you are the witness of the whole universe. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be merciful and tell me the process to deliver Dhundukari." The sun god replied, "Only one thing can be done to deliver him: recitation of Shrimad Bhagwatam for 1 week." The assembly heard the statement of the sun god and agreed that this simple process should be executed. Thus the news spread that Gokarn would perform the Saptaha Yajna. From the nearby villages many people came who were lame, blind, aged and less intelligent. All had the desire to become free from their sins. Such a crowd assembled that even the demigods were surprised. Gokarn took his seat on the Vyasana and began reciting the pastimes of Lord Krishna as described in the Bhagwatam. At that time the ghost also came and searched for a place to sit. Because he had an airy body he could not sit outside, so he entered a bamboo rod which had 7 knots and thus began hearing Shrimad Bhagwatam. After Gokarn appointed one Vaisnava Brahman as the chief of the assembly, in a clear sweet voice he started reciting Shrimad Bhagwatam from the first canto. That evening during a pause in the Katha, a wonderful incident occurred. The people in the assembly noticed that one of the knots in the bamboo cracked and burst. In this way, at the end of each day, a knot would burst, and on the 7th day, when the recitation was complete, all the knots were cracked. Dhundukari was delivered from his ghostly form. He attained a divine body, which was blackish like rain clouds. He was clad in yellow garments, a tulsi garland around his neck, a crown adorning his head and beautiful earrings dangling from his ears. He immediately offered obeisances to Gokarn and said, "My dear brother, by your mercy I have been released from the ghostly body. This ceremony of Saptaha is so glorious that it can destroy ghostly forms and elevate one to the abode of Lord Krishna. When a person starts hearing the Saptaha, since tremble in fear anticipating that the Bhagwatam Katha will burn them to ashes. In the same way that fire burns a twig or a tree, so this Saptaha burns all big or small sins performed with the body, mind and speech. Scholars in the assembly of demigods have said that the lives of those Indians who do not hear Shrimad Bhagwatam are an utter waste. What is the value of making this temporary body stout and strong? If one does not hear Shrimad Bhagwatam, then there is no gain from this so-called beautiful body. This body is supported by bones, which are like pillars and tied together with the ropes of nerves and veins. It is covered with skin and is filled with flesh, and every part reeks, being nothing more than a pot of stool and urine. In old age it is the cause of lamentation and misery. Indeed, it is a residence of ailments, and to maintain it is a great burden. It is continuously troubled by desires that can never be satisfied. Every pore is full of defects, and it can be destroyed within a moment. When buried, it is eaten by worms; if thrown out, it is eaten by vultures and transformed into stool; and if burned, it turns to ashes. Indeed, these are the only destinations of this body. Who is that sane person who will not utilize this temporary body to gain permanent benefit? Food which is cooked in the morning is putrid by evening, so how can this body be considered eternal, since it is nourished by elements that decompose? In this material world, people can very quickly attain the lotus feet of the Lord by hearing Bhagavata Saptaha. This is the only means to get rid of the defects of human birth. Those people who do not hear Bhagavata Katha are just like bubbles in water, or like mosquitoes, who take birth only to die uselessly. If this Bhagavata Katha can burst the knots of bamboo, then why can it not burst those in the heart? By hearing Shrimad Bhagwatam, one's doubts are removed, the karma is slackened, and one becomes relieved of the knots in the heart. Bhagavata Katha is like a tirth that cleanses one from all impurities. Scholars say that when the Bhagavatam becomes fixed in the heart, one's liberation is definite. When Dhundhukari was speaking in this way, the sky became effulgent and a Vaikuntha airplane appeared carrying associates of the Lord. In front of the whole assembly, Dhundhukari boarded the airplane. Gokarn posed the question, "O dear associates of the Lord, in this assembly there are many pure heart people, and all of them heard the Bhagavata Saptaha. Why is it that this airplane has come exclusively for Dhundhukari? Why are the others not getting the same result?" The servants of the Lord spoke, "O Gokarn, the difference lies in the quality of their hearing. Although it is true that everyone heard the Katha, everyone did not meditate on it equally. For this reason the results of performing bhajna or devotional service are different. The ghost fasted for 7 days and heard Bhagavatam with a completely fixed and attentive mind. That knowledge which is not stable is useless. In the same way, if one does not hear attentively, or if one harbors doubts or lets his mind wander here and there, then he will not get the benefit of chanting his mantra. Land devoid of Vaisnavas, Shraddha offered to unqualified persons, charity given to ill-behaved Brahmins who do not know the Vedas, are all useless. Faith in the words of the spiritual master, humility, control of the mind's defects and attentive hearing of Bhagavata Katha all grant the full result. If one hears the Bhagavatam attentively, he certainly attains Vaikuntha. O Gokarn, as far as you are concerned, the Lord himself will come to take you to Goloka." Thereafter the associates of the Lord, performing Hari Kirtana, ascended to the Vaikuntha. In the month of Shravana, Gokarn again performed the Saptaha Yajna of Shrimad Bhagwatam, and those people listened to it. O Narada, please listen what happened at the end of that Saptaha. The Lord appeared in a plain filled with devotees. From all quarters could be heard, all glories, and people were paying obeisances. The Lord blew his conch shell named Pankajanya and embraced Gokarn. In a moment he granted everyone who listened to the Shrimad Bhagwatam a body just like his own. They all acquired a blackish body and wore yellow garments, helmets and earrings. By the mercy of Gokarn, all the living entities in that village, including dogs and even the dog-eaters, ascended in that airship. They were carried to the place where only devotees go, the abode of the Lord. In this way, Lord Krishna, being very pleased by his katha, took Gokarn with him to Goloka Dhama, which is most dear to the cowherd people. In the past, Lord Ramakandra took all the residents of Ayodhya to his abode, Saketa. In the same way, Lord Krishna took everyone to Goloka Dhama, which is not attained even by great yogis, the sun god, moon god, or even perfected beings, but is attained only by hearing Shrimad Bhagwatam. O Narada, what can we say about the wonderful result which one attains by hearing Bhagavata Saptaha? Even those who have heard a fraction of the history of Gokarn do not take birth again. That destination which cannot be attained by those who live on air, water or dry leaves, executing extended penance or the practice of yoga, is easily attained simply by hearing Bhagavata Saptaha. The great sage Sandilya, who is always absorbed in transcendental bliss, engages in reciting this pious history at Citrakuta. This story is so purifying that anyone who hears it even once becomes free from all sin. If it is recited during the Shraddha ceremony, the forefathers are very pleased. Anyone who recites Shrimad Bhagwatam daily attains liberation. Chapter 6. The process of Saptaha Yajna. The Kumaras said, O Narada, now we will explain the process of performing Saptaha. Generally this process requires wealth and the assistance of others. First one should determine an auspicious times with the help of a good astrologer. If the Saptaha begins in the months of Bhadra, Aswina, Kartika, Margsirsa, Asadha or Shravana, the audience will get liberation. Even during these months, however, inauspicious periods such as Bhadra Vyatipta should be avoided. With the help of enthusiastic people, one should acquire as much wealth as needed to perform a marriage ceremony. He should then graciously invite various families, including women and Sudras, to hear Harikatha. One should publicly announce the event and send written invitations to Vaisnavas and other lovers of Harikirtana. One should announce in writing that for 7 days the rare opportunity to hear the transcendental message of Shrimad Bhagwatam and to associate with saintly persons is being made available. It should be explained that if one is unable to attend for the entire period, he should come for at least 1 day to give blessings. In this way one should humbly send invitations to Vaisnavas and make proper arrangements for their board and lodging. The recitation of Bhagwatam should be done either in a holy place, a forest, or in one's house. It should be performed on an open ground that is properly cleaned and decorated. If performed in one's house, all household articles should be removed from the room used for the recitation. One should start making arrangements 5 days in advance. A nice podium should be arranged and decorated with fruits, leaves, flowers, banana trees, and so forth. On the stage one should imagine the 7 planetary systems. Proper seats should be offered to saintly persons and there should be a nice vyasana for the speaker. It is the opinion of scholars that if the speaker faces north, the audience should face eastwards. If the speaker faces east, the audience should face north, or both can face the east. The speaker should be learned, expert, and able to explain the essence of Vedic literature and give proper examples. He should be a renounced Brahman, a devotee of the Lord and free from material desires. Those who are cheaters, attached to women, and who do not know the essence of religion, should not be invited to speak on Shrimad Bhagwatam. The speaker may have a learned assistant to remove doubts whenever necessary. 1 day before the recitation the speaker should shave his head. He should take morning bath, chant Gayatri, perform other morning duties and then worship Ganesha for removing any obstacles in the Saptaha Yajna. He should offer oblations to the forefathers, perform Prayasitta, and establish Lord Hari on the mandala. Thereafter, he should worship Lord Krishna by chanting proper mantras and offer 16 articles of worship. He should circumambulate the Lord and beseech him in the following way, O most merciful Lord, I am drowning in the ocean of this material world. I am very fallen and caught in the network of karma, which is like a crocodile. Please deliver me from this world. Following the procedure, he should then worship Shrimad Bhagwatam with incense, ghee lamp, and so on. He should place 1 coconut in front of the book, pay obeisances, and offer the following prayer. O Lord Krishna, you are directly the Shrimad Bhagwatam. I take shelter of you so I can free myself from this world. Please remove all obstacles so this ceremony may be successfully completed. O Lord Keswa, I am your servant. Thereafter, the host should worship the speaker, give him nice cloth, and offer the following prayer. You are the personification of Sukhdeva and are expert in explaining the meaning of Shrimad Bhagwatam. Please reveal this knowledge to us and dispel our ignorance. Then in a blissful mood, one should take a vow for his own good and maintain it for 7 days without fail. To dispel all obstacles in the Katha, 5 Brahmins should be selected to daily chant the 12-syllable mantra composed of names of Lord Hari. After this, the host should worship the Brahmins, the devotees, and give charity to the Kirtana performers. He should offer them obeisances and with their permission, be seated. Those who hear the Katha attentively, with great faith and a pure mind, who have give up attachment to home, wealth, family, and so on, will receive the highest benefit. The intelligent speaker will start the Katha at sunrise and continue for 9 hours. He should recite in a sweet medium tone and observe a 1-hour lapse at noon. During this interim, the Vaisnavas should glorify the various names of Lord Hari associated with a particular history being narrated, and there should be no idle talk. To avoid passing stool and urine during the time of Katha, one should consume only light food. If possible, one should fast for 7 days, or subsist only on ghee or milk and happily listen to the Bhagwatam. Alternatively, one can eat once a day or subsist only on fruit. One should observe a procedure that can be followed without much difficulty. I consider eating better than fasting if it helps one concentrate and hear properly. If fasting disturbs one's hearing, then he should avoid it. O Narda, now listen to the principles to be observed while hearing Saptaha. A person who is not initiated into Vaisnava mantra is not qualified to hear it. A person who wants to properly hear the Saptaha should observe celibacy and sleep on the floor. After the recitation, he should eat food served on leaves. He should not eat dal, honey, oil, heavy, stale, or contaminated food. He should completely avoid lust, pride, greed, envy, anger, illusion, hypocrisy, and so on. He should also avoid criticizing or hearing criticism of the Vedas, Vaisnavas, Brahmins, the Guru, women, the king, great personalities, or those who render service to the cow. He should also avoid contacting women during menstruation, a mlecha, a fallen person, a Brahmin who is not initiated into Gayatri mantra, those who are antagonistic toward Brahmins, and those who do not accept the Vedas. He should always be clean, truthful, silent, simple, humble, merciful and generous. Even those who are poor, sick, unfortunate, childless, and desirous of liberation are qualified to hear this Katha. Women who are barren, who have only one child, whose child had died, who have reached menopause, or who always suffer miscarriages should also hear this Katha. If they hear attentively, they will attain imperishable benefit. The recitation of Bhagavatam gives the highest benefit to the human being. After observing these rules, one should perform the concluding ceremony of the Saptaha. Those who desire special benefit should observe this just like the Janmaswami celebration. However, it is not necessary for renunciates to observe it. They are purified just by hearing the Saptaha. When the Saptaha Yajna is over, the audience should worship the book and the speaker with great devotion. The speaker should distribute prasad, tulsi leaves, and the offered garlands to the audience. Everyone should perform kirtana with mridanga and karatalas and sing with beautiful voices. The Jaya Dhvani should be chanted, obeisances should be offered, conches should be blown, and food and charity should be distributed to the Brahmins and beggars. On the following day, a renounced person from the audience should recite Bhagavad Gita to create peace and remove all improprieties. If one is a householder, he should perform a sacrifice, recite shlokas from the 10th canto, and offer oblations to the fire. Or he should chant Gayatri mantra with a concentrated mind and perform sacrifice. In reality, Shrimad Bhagwatam is the personification of the Gayatri mantra. A person who does not have the means to perform sacrifice should give charity to the Brahmins and recite Vishnu Sahasranama to remove all deficiencies. This will bring him all success. Thereafter he should feed 12 Brahmins with sweet rice, honey, and delicious foodstuffs. He should give cows and gold in charity. If he has the means, he should place the Shrimad Bhagwatam on a throne made of 36 grams of gold and donate it to the spiritual master. By this he will become free from the cycle of birth and death. This process of performing Saptaha removes all sins. If performed properly, the most auspicious Bhagwatam will bestow whatever one desires, be it dharma, artha, kama or moksha. There's no doubt about it. The Kumaras continued, O Narda, in this way I have explained hearing Bhagwatam Saptaha. The Shrimad Bhagwatam can deliver both bhoga and moksha. What more do you want to know? Suta Goswami said, O Sonka. After saying this, the Kumaras recited Shrimad Bhagwatam for 1 week. This is most pure, dispels all sins, and is capable of granting sense enjoyment as well as liberation. While they observed all the rules and regulations, the assembly listened attentively. After this, they worshipped the personality of Godhead according to the scriptural injunctions. After recitation, Jnana, Vairagya, and Bhakti were rejuvenated. Being young and enthusiastic, they attracted the hearts of all living entities. Seeing his desire fulfilled, Narada Muni was completely absorbed in bliss and his hair stood up in ecstasy. Narada, who is very dear to the Lord, spoke to the Kumaras in a sweet loving voice with folded hands. Indeed, I am very fortunate to get your mercy. Today I have attained Lord Hari, who is the dispeller of sins. O austere sages, hearing this Bhagwatam is the best religious act, as by doing so, one attains Lord Krishna, who always resides in Goloka. Suta Goswami said, O Sonka, while the topmost Vaisnava, Narada, was speaking in this way, Sukdeva Goswami, the best of the yogis, appeared there. He was completely satisfied within himself and looked just like a 16-year-old youth. He appeared like a full moon to bring tide in the ocean of knowledge. He was blissfully reciting Bhagwatam in a very low voice. Upon seeing Sukdeva Goswami, the entire assembly stood up and offered him an elevated seat. Then Sri Narada Muni worshipped him with love and affection. When Sukdeva Goswami was comfortably seated, he said, Dear ones, please hear my words. O devotees who taste devotional mellows, Shrimad Bhagwatam is the mature fruit of the wish-fulfilling tree of the Vedas. It has come from my mouth and is full of nectar. This fruit has no skin or stone. It is pure nectar and is easily available only on earth. Therefore, as long as you are conscious, please drink it again and again. The great sage Vyas compiled this Mahapurana, which describes the highest religious process and is free from all cheating propensities. It explains the absolute reality and is meant for those whose hearts are pure. It relieves one of the 3 miseries. If one takes shelter of the Shrimad Bhagwatam, there is no need for any other scripture or process. Whenever a pious soul desires to hear it, the personality of Godhead immediately appears within his heart. Shrimad Bhagwatam is the crest jewel among the Puranas and the wealth of the Vaisnavas. It describes that pure knowledge is dear to the Paramahamsas and illuminates the path of detachment along with Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya. Those who hear, read, or meditate on its meaning are liberated. This nectar is not available in heaven, Satyaloka, Kailas, or Vaikuntha. Therefore, O fortunate listeners, please drink it again and never leave it. Suta Goswami said, while Sri Sukdeva spoke in the midst of that assembly, Lord Hari appeared along with Prahlad, Bali, Uddhava, Arjuna and other associates. Sri Narada then worshipped the Lord along with his devotees. Seeing the Lord in a blissful mood, Narada Muni gave him a nice seat and then everyone performed Kirtana. Lord Shiva, Parvati, and Lord Brahma came there to listen. Prahlad, who is very swift, played the karatalas and Uddhava played big cymbals. Narada Muni played his veena and Arjuna, who is adept in ragas, sang melodiously. Indra played the mridanga, and the Kumaras shouted Jaya, Jaya. Sri Sukdeva Goswami moved his limbs in an ecstatic trance. In the midst of everyone, Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya danced like expert actors. Observing this, the Lord said, I am very pleased with this recitation and Kirtana. All of you have controlled me by your love and affection, therefore you may ask some boon from me. Everyone was pleased to hear this and with love-laden hearts they requested, O Lord, we desire that whenever and wherever there is recitation of the Saptaha, you kindly appear along with your associates. The Lord said, Let it be so, and then disappeared. After that Narada Muni paid obeisances in the direction which the Lord and his devotees departed. He offered obeisances to Sukdeva Goswami and the assembled saints. Everyone was in ecstasy after drinking the nectar of Shrimad Bhagwatam and were free from delusion. Thereafter, everyone returned to their respective places. At that time Sri Sukdeva Goswami established Bhakti and her 2 sons in the Shrimad Bhagwatam. By rendering service to the Bhagwatam, Lord Hari becomes fixed in the heart of the Vaisnavas. The Shrimad Bhagwatam bestows auspiciousness to those burning in misery, troubled by Maya, or drowning in an ocean of nescience. Sonka asked, O Suta Goswami, when did Sukdeva recite the Bhagwatam to Parikshita, Gokaran to Dhundhukari, and the Kumaras to Narada Muni? Suta Goswami replied, about 30 years after Lord Krishna's departure to his abode, on the 9th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Bhadra, Sukdeva recited Bhagwatam to Parikshita. 200 years later in the month of Asadha, on the 9th day of the bright fortnight Gokaran recited Bhagwatam to Dhundhukari. 30 years later, in the month of Kartika on the 9th day of the bright fortnight, the Kumaras recited it to Narada Muni. O sinless Sonka, I have replied to everything you have asked. Bhagavata Katha is the panacea for all problems in Kali Yuga. All of you are saintly, therefore, please drink it. Bhagavatam destroys all sins and is very dear to Lord Krishna. It increases one's devotion and is the only means to attain liberation. What is the value of serving the holy places or engaging in other processes of liberation? When the Yamdutas are sent to arrest someone with ropes, Yamraja instructs them, don't approach those who are maddened by hearing the pastimes of Lord Hari. I do not have the power to chastise them, for Vaisnavas are beyond my jurisdiction. The nectar which came from the mouth of Sukdeva Goswami brings all auspiciousness to those who are attached to the poison of sense gratification. My dear friends, why wander in the forest of sense enjoyment and hear useless talks? As soon as this katha enters the ears, one is liberated. The proof is Parikshita Maharaja. Sri Sukdeva Goswami spoke the Bhagavatam while in ecstasy. Anyone who recites the Bhagavatam is qualified to go to Vaikuntha. O Sonka, after studying the various scriptures, I have revealed this secret to you. This is the essence of all scriptures. There is nothing superior to this Bhagavatam which was spoken by Sukdeva Goswami. For the attainment of transcendental bliss, you should always drink the Bhagavatam which is composed of 12 cantos. Anyone who hears the Bhagavatam from the lips of a devotee, with faith and a pure heart, or recites it to the devotees, will attain the supreme goal. In the three worlds there is nothing unattainable for them.